All right, we are live, and thank you for joining us, everybody. I brought in with me old Dan, which you've seen on our videos quite a bit, and Drake from Drake Valley Outdoors. At this point, you've probably seen all of his videos as well. If you haven't, make sure you go to his page because his videos are fantastic. So I've got a lineup of things I want to talk about tonight. To get through those things, those of you who are on the chat board, feel free to ask any questions or make any comments. We might stop at some point and answer a few questions, but I've got a list of things I want to talk about, and then we'll move on. So first of all, Dan, how are you doing in the off season? How are you?
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I played Battlefield too many times already. I'm just playing video games.
What about the golf game we went to yesterday? The other day.
My God. Did your back hurt?
I went to growth today for my back, so yeah.
But golf will injure you. Have you ever played golf, Drake?
Yeah, I have. I actually played golf a lot in middle school, and then I played with my grandpa a lot through high school and stuff. And haven't played a lot anymore since I'm.
You should play with Elliott because he kicked our ass.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not good. Dan and Nevin, my middle son, 13-year-old, they were having an all-out. Down to the last hole. On the last hole, Dan pulled a 16, Nevin pulled a 14, and Dan beat Nevin by 1 stroke. We were on this hole that was a huge lake, and neither of them could drive over the lake. And so they decided we're just going to get short shots all the way around.
I'm not good at golf by any means, but I can get by. I mean, if I'm below 100, I'm doing pretty good. So
it was the best I played forever. I'm terrible at golf, but it was a par 3 course, and I shot a 43 on 9. So there was a couple of par 4s.
Yeah. So what he's saying is he embarrassed us.
Well, I really wish I'd taken my video camera just to get some clips of this guy swinging a club. All right, so let's move on to some of the topics. I want to start with, I know you both had a chance that I posted yesterday about shooting of illegal ducks and videoing of them. You know, I was really surprised that almost every comment I got, which I got a ton, were positive. When the first time I put triple kills and machetes on, it wasn't on a state forum, it was on a national forum. I got roasted so bad, I finally went to the moderator and said, "Can you just take this down?" I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was like I was Hitler killing Jews.
I know.
I couldn't believe it.
But why? Why? Have you ever gotten to the question of
well,
why
they were saying you give the sport a bad name.
Yeah, but why are they so contentious about it?
Well, one, they're saying that I give the sport a bad name. It gives anti-hunters fuel that we don't follow the laws. Number 2, I'm just stupid because I'm going to get a ticket. But it was mostly just name calling. Now, this recent one on the state forums wasn't as bad. In fact, I didn't post that video. I posted it and talking trash, calling me a dumbass. And I just wanted to bring it to the community and say, get another perspective. Yeah. I didn't get a single, no, you shouldn't have posted it, which I thought I would get as much negative as I got. It would be at least somewhat.
My favorite comments were like, yep, this is why I like this channel. You show it exactly how it is. You know, and everybody just wants to, like, well, I don't know about everybody, but I know one time I was deer hunting, right? And actually, no, this is just me being a dummy, but I sat in my stand and I heard a deer and I almost took a shot at it. It never panned out. I got off the stand. I looked at my watch. I saw the date over the hunting. Like, I thought it was the first. It was really the second. I messed up. Yeah. But I started talking to other hunters, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've done that once. Oh yeah, one time I thought it started this day and that day." And like these things, it's like, oh, and you know, hear no evil, see no evil. But
maybe I just broke the taboo of culture of you don't talk about it.
You don't talk about it. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your reaction to that, Drake?
I kind of have I can see both sides of it. I'm on some different Facebook groups and stuff, and I know there was one where a guy posted a picture of all these fish he caught, and he had a bunch of fish that were under the krill limit, and I've never seen anybody get roasted by people as bad as that guy did. I didn't see any comments from him, but I mean, they were going as far as certain people were contacting the wildlife managers and stuff and calling and reporting this guy. And because he's on Facebook and has his name and everything, I'm sure they said that one of the wildlife guys said they were tracking him down. So I'm sure he got some kind of fine for it and stuff. So as far as it actually happening in waterfowl hunting and shooting over your limit or shooting ducks out of season, I mean, it happens. Like, I mean, when it comes to waterfowl identification, there's things that you can do. You know, I mean, someone in our group a few years ago, before I was in the hunting group, they shot a wood duck out of season. And I know that there's other YouTubers who have shot wood ducks out of season, things like that. And shooting over your limit, it's an easy thing to do whenever you just happen to hit more than what you're looking at. So, I mean, it definitely happens.
Even while we're just normally hunting on a video, and because we're putting it online, everything we do has a tendency to just be sensationalized. And shooting 3 hens was unintentionally sensationalized. So I like the idea of, I don't know whose idea this was, but like, if any of us should ever shoot something out of season or, you know, out of, you know, the context of the law, we should put it in our video. Like, Dan failed. Dan, what are you going to do? Are you going to report it? Are you going to, you know, are you going to donate? What are you going to do? How do you feel? Like, at least
self-imposed punishment.
Yeah, well, at least
some group self-imposed punishment.
At least video the fact that this is not something that we like to do, and
to do that
like a swear jar.
Yeah, right,
like
something like that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So let's move on to another issue that's been brought up on the state forums that, and this more closely involves you, Drake. Someone on the forums, and the majority of the people were agreeing, were extremely upset that guys like you and myself are going out to public land and videoing hunts on public land that other people might recognize. And I know you and I texted a little bit that. Why don't you start out what your thoughts are on? They feel like that are doing a disservice to the hunters in our state by what we're doing, essentially, by going out and filming hunting on public land.
Right. I think one of the biggest reasons why they fear it is not that we're showing off their spots. I think probably one of the bigger reasons is they're more afraid of bringing in out-of-state hunters. And that's something that I hadn't actually talked to you about, but it was something that I had been thinking about. Because like you said, people aren't going to find the exact spot just by watching a video. If they know of the spot, yeah, they're going to recognize it. I mean, you can pretty much take a picture of anywhere around where I hunt. I'm going to be able to look at it and I'm going to say exactly where that's at, just because, you know, walking in there every weekend and walking out every weekend, and just you see every single tree as you walk by and stuff. But yeah, I mean, as far as a lot of their complaints, I think it all comes down to that, really.
Yeah, I think that is a really good point. And the first season, I tried to hide the state that we hunted in, and I wouldn't tell anyone, because you get asked a lot, even if you haven't posted it. Description, you get asked, like, where you hunting? And so the first season, I hit it like crazy. And finally, the second season, I was like, you know what? I love this state. I'm not hiding it anymore.
Yeah. So
the first, I'd say, 7 videos from season 2, I talk about Kansas all the time. I'm talking about prairie marshes. I made the motto, this is the Kansas you don't
see.
Yeah, this is the Kansas that most people don't know about, or something like that. And I had someone contact me.
No one gets to see.
And we had a lengthy email discussion, just what you're saying about bringing people into the state. And he actually changed my thinking. And from that point on, like in my tags, I don't put this name of the state. I don't ever put it anywhere in my video, and I don't talk about it. There was a point, I think it was hunt 7. After hunt 7, you never hear me say what state we're in anymore. And when people ask, I don't tell them because of that. I don't want to draw in. A lot of people were really aggressive towards me on the forums about, well, people can recognize those marshes. People can recognize those marshes. And what I made a couple comments back to them because I really don't want to get into a fight with people. But my main point was this: is anybody that recognizes the marsh that I'm hunting in of that marsh.
Yeah.
No new traffic is going to be driven to that exact marsh. So then you have to say, okay, does a handful of people recognizing the marsh I hunted have an effect? And I guess it might move traffic around the area a little bit, but it's not going to increase the number of hunters in an area.
And like most of the places that we go to, if you don't have a kayak, if you don't want to go a mile or 1,000 yards into the woods, if you can't sustain that kind of hunting, you're not going to go there anyway, is what I've always thought. I mean, even if people know where that's at, I would say that they would say, oh man, I wouldn't even go clear out there.
Yeah.
I would think. I mean, how many duck hunters do you think are like really doing it? Like, and I don't blame the ones that just like
not just casual.
Yeah, and I don't blame. Like, I'm all for just casual hunting. I can't wait to find that spot that is like just 50 meters away from my car.
We've got one.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, but even that, there's a lot to do with that spot too. I mean, driving stuff back there. I just don't think that there's a lot of hunters out there across the board anywhere that really wants to hunt.
Yeah. The average duck hunter hunts, I think, 5 times a year.
Are you kidding me?
5% of the hunters kill 90% of the ducks or something. I don't know. There's statistics like that I've heard. But here's the thing, though, to counteract that a little bit. There's enough guys hunting who are hardcore to seem like a lot.
Yeah, that's what Bubba Bacon's saying, too.
Yeah. Bubba Bacon said, I don't agree because there are very hardcore hunters that are willing to find a spot that's hot. And I would agree with that, but that's still the minority. But there's so many people out there doing it anymore. It's too many. It's always too many because we always want the spot to work.
I heard that today's kids have the equivalent physical capacity of a 65-year-old. So I just don't. I mean,
well, you remember the camping trip we went on where Murphy couldn't carry our own skin?
Nope.
Drake, you have any final points on that?
Just kind of going back to what I was saying as far as the videos portraying what our state is and bringing in out-of-state hunters. I'd seen someone that said that's why I hunt private instead of public, but even on private land you still deal with that. There's a lot of hunters that have ruined private land opportunities for other hunters. We've frequently went and asked farmers, hey, can we hunt your field? No, the last guys that were in there tore it up, rutted it up, things like that. And I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of times they're out-of-state hunters that come in and don't really care. They get permission, they go in, they do what they have to do to get into the field, shoot their birds, and then get out. They're not really worried about coming back and hunting that same spot every other week or every month or even every week or something like that. So it still affects public land or private land as well. As far as
in the last 5-10 years, this state has gone from kind of not being thought about in the waterfowl world. It is one of the hotbeds of waterfowling.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, there was like 2-3 seasons ago, Ducks Unlimited had like 5 hunts out of their 12 in this state or something. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of people on the forums and stuff that were really upset about that because Parks and Wildlife made, I guess, a big push towards making it like a tourism thing, and that really brought in a lot of hunters. So I've definitely seen a lot of people that were very upset about that and making Kansas. I think they were afraid that people were like showing Kansas for what it is, as far as a waterfowl spot, and a lot of people were pretty upset about that.
Chris Stoll says, blame it on the outstairs. We're not blaming it on the outstairs. We just don't want them here.
You know what? I don't want to go all sideways here. Like, my heart, I consider myself a Kansan, all right? But I'm originally from New Jersey. And critical, all right, but Midwesterners tend to have, in my opinion, and only my opinion only, Midwesterners have this, they're just a little bit more possessive. A little bit more possessive of their things.
Well, think of the bloodline comes from people coming out here and going, this plot's mine.
Mine.
That's mine.
Right. So, like, I just don't know. And I just don't know if there would be the same kind of fervor or like heat if we were in New Jersey, because there's millions of people on top of millions of people. And it's just like, oh, yeah, it's public land, of course. Yeah, like, over there in an RV over there, and there's that guy is hunting right there, and like,
well, and that's the culture that breaks out in some of the marshes we have here.
Yeah.
And I talked about that in that video where I lost my cool and yelled at that guy, that the culture of the marsh becomes yards from you. I can scream at ducks, I can shoot 100-yard shots, and we're all good with it. That's the culture sets in. So that, you know, to even gripe at guys like that, it's like that's already the established culture.
Yeah, you remember when there were pellets, Drake, there were pellets like raining on me, petered out, and they're just like dissipating all over me, right? Falling on me. And I just like very calmly, I was like, Elliott, those were shot pellets, man. Like, I'm going there right now. Right now. Where are they right now?
I know.
Yeah, we've had that a few times, and I didn't even realize it at first. I wasn't like paying attention. I was like walking around, you know, looking over here, and I would hear people shooting. And you know, it takes a while sometimes for it to come down, but then we'd hear all the pellets hitting in the spread and stuff like that. And sometimes I don't know how far they'll actually travel. As far as, I mean, I know sometimes how close the guys were. We knew that, but I think a lot of times they were shooting up and they were kind of raining down. But it's definitely frustrating whenever it happens.
It's like
Heads down, look down.
Yeah, it was tough. But, you know, like the one silver lining I think in all this is like it's going to be a debate. Like, hey, stop exploiting the spots. Is that we're protecting them too, though. Like it could. Some of our favorite marshes could $4 or a target.
Yeah.
And the more people that use public land and the more people that care about public resources to be used for hunting and fishing and whatever, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Anyone have any final thoughts on that before we move on? All right. Started what I'm considering the 2017 video series. So every single Monday now, I'm going to be releasing a video at 4 o'clock Central. And the next couple weeks are going to be fishing, and then can Dan do it, some more discussion videos. So I have a whole schedule lined out going on with FDH every single Monday with some live streams mixed in. So I'm kind of curious, Drake, what do you have going on in the next, from here till season? How well have you organized it, and kind of what's going on over there on your channel?
I haven't done a whole lot of organization. I have like a lot of the stuff that I want to do. Right now I'm doing mostly the review videos and stuff like that, and then I've had I had one fishing video come out. Haven't really been fishing as much as I wanted to this year. So I have a list of a lot of things that I want to do review videos on, but I don't have specific dates laid out. It would probably help if I did that. It'd make me more accountable probably on getting that stuff done and getting it out on a good time. But I don't have any set schedule.
I didn't do that last year. I didn't schedule the videos. And so, well, number one, I'm a teacher, so I've got like lots of off time. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and schedule every single video from now until episode number 1. So much more organized, because there's little pieces, like for Can Dan doing, he's floating the Missouri. He sent me a video where people are talking about the Missouri, and I've already have that spliced up. And it's like when I know the dates of something are gonna I start preparing for it a lot earlier.
And you're making me more organized. I have this in my calendar.
Yeah,
I didn't look at it, but it's in there.
I've got set. Yeah, do that. It just makes me feel. Last year, I did a ton of discussion videos, but I was just whenever I'd have an idea in the next 48 hours, that would be my entire life until it was done. Not very good. So now it's so much more relaxing to be like, all right, know when it's gonna hit. What can I do to prepare for it ahead of time? And I think the videos are gonna actually turn out better that way too.
I think that, and Rick, I don't know if were you planning on doing maybe like a gun or ammo kind of video?
I did kind of a review on the shotgun that I use, but I haven't done any like generic like shotgun overview or recommendations or things like that. And I haven't done anything ammo related. I would like to do some patterning stuff with my gun for my own use, and then also just making a video of it. But
that's what I want to do patterning or velocity or like penetration test or something. I just don't know how to do it. Like, where do you get ballistic gel? Anybody?
Yeah, Dan would like to do a penetration test with ballistic gel and different loads. I bet you that stuff's expensive.
Yeah, I know there is one guy on YouTube that done that with. Can't remember what shot he used, but it was. I think Blindside was one of them, and there was a couple other fairly popular shot videos. But I don't know where he got his ballistic gel at. And those are kind of old
If you
videos.
think about doing a patterning video, I would encourage you to do it because out of all the discussion videos I did last year, anything guns and ammo related did by far better than the other videos. By far. People just seem to like those videos.
Yeah.
All right. One hunt, I should try black powder duck hunting. Has anybody ever tried that?
Legal?
I think that's legal, yeah. I think that would be, why wouldn't that be illegal? Yeah, you would just have to have a smooth bore.
I don't know, Dan.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Dan can't do it. You're just now getting clouded. Season 1, Dan, I've had 2 kind of off shooting seasons in a row, so I'm not like casting dispersions.
Right, no, I know.
You shot so much better this year. So much better.
I know, but with black powder, you could just fill the whole barrel with shot.
Dan's wife is in the chat room. That is Mrs. Danny Boy.
Hey, honey, how you doing?
So, out of your review videos, Drake, do you have a favorite? What they are, and tell kind of which one you enjoyed doing the most. What all have you reviewed in the past month?
I did my waders, and I've done some decoys, and then I've done some pants or something that I got rid of shortly after I did that. And I mainly did that because it was the Sitka pants or whatever, that Sitka brand. And those videos actually seem to do pretty well because there's not a lot out there. And with it being a fairly expensive product, it seems like quite a few people want to look up and find stuff on it before they purchase it. But I don't know if I really have a favorite. I kind of like doing the decoys just because people like looking at decoys and they're pretty and stuff like that. But
I liked that one. That was my favorite, the decoy one.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me. We have to make that duck decoy do something different in the river. That's where the decoy. Do you remember that at all?
No.
All right.
Was that where someone was saying that the decoys didn't look right in the water or something like that because they're on the river?
I can't let him get distracted because.
Did you see that one, Drake?
I saw someone comment something on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan's got a whole. We're totally overhauling our layout boats, which I didn't have on the list to talk about, but we'll talk about it real quick. Bumbles and I got kayaks from Bass Pro, and they're only about $700, and with the $200 attachment, it's got a full layout blind on it.
They're really
so
nice.
We're going with that route. We're gonna raffia grass the layout blind, and then also stuff it with natural stuff when we get there. Back, we're building conduit. We're using conduit pipe and building doors. Or no, I'm sorry. Build a hood to cover the dogs. So we are going to be so much more hidden those blinds, it's like, you know, the flap doors that pop open side. And Dan, he found it. How much did you pay for that?
It was $425, I think.
Aquapod for like $425.
Honey, how much did I pay for that? It's probably like $475. I don't know.
A little bit more work intensive to make all the doors and raffia grass, the whole thing. We're putting bungee cords on it, but I think by the time we're done, we're going to be a lot more hidden.
Yeah, and we have to thank Freelance Duck Hunting community for the severe criticism we took for not being camoed up.
Yeah, they always let us know, don't they?
Yeah.
So what's going on with your new boat?
We're kind of just having fun with it right now. It's pretty much at this point where we're done with what we're gonna do with it. We got lights on it, motor's running good. We just changed the oil on it and stuff, and it has a few small leaks, so we're kind of patching those up. And then we took it out Memorial weekend, and we set a trout line. And I didn't make a video of it just because I was a little bit scared with the camera on the boat for the first time, taking it out at night and stuff. And I was running the boat, so I wasn't able to film it, but having a lot of fun in it. I think it's going to be a great tool to have during duck season, at least until stuff starts freezing up.
Yeah, that'll be fun to see you guys using that for sure. And you might be able to use it some to bust ice with too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the topic that I'm so excited about is Can Dan Do It? For those of you that don't know what Can Dan Do It is, we have picked out several things that I want to see if Dan can do. And we're going to go out and Dan's going to try to do those things, and I'm going to video him and make fun of him.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, and I'm going to update my power of attorney and some will.
You need to. We're having some dilemma about this Missouri River.
Stay away from the sides.
So here this Saturday, we're gonna put the big bow on the Missouri River, float up 2 miles, and camp out, and hopefully make a fishing video that night. The next morning, Dan's been researching, and he's gonna build himself some type of raft. Mm-hmm. Oh no! Well, we're gonna display Dan with 7 different tools. Mm-hmm. 3 or 4 of the tools to use in making his raft.
3.
Is it 3?
I think 3.
And so with those tools, he's going to have 4 or 5 hours to build himself a raft, and he's got to float it down all the way back to 2 or 3 miles.
Yeah.
But the dilemma is how I don't think the Missouri River is that dangerous.
What do you think, Drake? Is the Missouri River dangerous?
I don't know. I don't know that I've ever seen the Missouri River, honestly.
We are being told by everyone that we talk to, dangerous.
You're gonna die
if you couldn't swim it. Because here's what they're
saying: something wrong with you? Are you on medication?
I didn't listen to anyone say that until I talked to Heim, my farmer friend.
Heim.
And his brother-in-law used to be like in charge of the Corps of Engineers from like miles and miles and miles. And he's telling me that the top half of the flow is water, and the bottom half is silt that travels faster. So you have these mixed currents in the water. Yeah. And he said someone that's not an exceptional swimmer would drown in 10 minutes. And
I'm just exceptional anyway. I'll be all right.
So I didn't want him to wear a life jacket because it just honestly, it's going to look more interesting if he doesn't have a life jacket.
It looks cheesy if you have a life jacket.
Yeah, he's going to look like a little 2-year-old with floaties on. Yeah. If you wear a life jacket, we should put those arm floaties on. Just go all out like little arm floaties. But we're getting so many people tell us how dangerous this is for him to be on a homemade raft. And I'm like, how dangerous could it be? We're falling behind him in a boat.
Right.
The river's only a couple hundred yards wide.
There shouldn't be too much debris in the...
I mean, I honestly don't believe for a second that I think I could go right out there and swim that thing. I just don't think it's dangerous.
Well, what about... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 100 years ago, the Missouri River, or maybe a little longer than that, the Missouri River used to be shallower but wider.
Yeah.
And now it's smaller and deeper.
Uh-huh.
Faster. And it gets faster and faster as the Kaw River it or something?
I'm sure it probably does speed up as the Kansas River flows into it. But I mean, they say it's the fastest navigable river in America. It flows about 10 miles an hour. And I'm sure it's fast, but I mean, could you not just float on your back if you had to? I mean, it can't be that dangerous. People hunt it and let their dogs retrieve ducks out of it.
Yeah, the dogs. Ground.
It doesn't make sense. That makes sense. So that's happening this Saturday. No matter what that is going to be.
The dogs, of course, the dogs. They retrieve. Oh, yeah, let's do this. I didn't even think about the dogs.
But here's the thing. If Dan dies and I'm on video saying I don't want to wear a life jacket, is that something I could do jail time for?
No.
Sure.
Unless I was like your employee, and then Larissa could go after you. But I don't think you could break.
I think Larissa would go after me.
No. She would just want to recoup the cost.
Oh, she said $450.
$450 for the kayak. That's probably it.
Larissa, if Dan dies, back or Sydney?
Now she'll be so happy because I got a life insurance policy.
I don't know how she finagled us not digging a well in her backyard.
That's still going to happen, Larissa. That's still happening.
So, then filming isn't as exciting, but we're trying to film Dan catching a hummingbird in his bare hands. Well,
that much away from my hand. Right?
There just wasn't very many hummingbirds around the first night we tried it. So he's got his ghillie suit on, and we're painting his hand up in red, and we're seeing that he's holding his hand there. He see if he can just snatch one.
Thank you, Dylan. I'm working on it. All right, I'm counting my calories.
Oh, Dylan, that's a sensitive spot. And not that I'm a super skinny guy, because I'm not. But Dan's been crying so much about his weight. I got him on a calorie counting app. He's been doing good.
4 days so far.
I've lost 9 pounds on that app.
I've 2 pounds so far.
Yeah.
2.
It'll come up. It'll come up. So
that's gonna hurt for a while.
I'm Dan's accountability partner.
That's gonna hurt for a while.
Yeah. I don't. Stuart and I were our doctor Stewie. We call him Dr. Stewie. We were talking. You hold your weight really well.
I do. I do.
I honestly, looking at you, I don't even see that you.
250 pounds of mostly just.
You
fat.
don't look fat.
High
your shoulders are so broad.
All like a 70-year-old.
Yeah. So those are the 2 Dan Can Dan Do It episodes, and the third one is the Catch a Live Goose one, which we've got 2 possible spots picked out. We're gonna get a decoy, put it on his head, put some foam around it so we can swim under it.
But the thing is I don't.
He's gonna sneak up to a goose and
catch it.
And catch it. He's gotta hold it for a 3 count.
I don't 3 count.
That's 3 count.
I don't like your location. I want it to be a little bit more public.
Dan wants. I've got a private location picked out so that we won't get in trouble. And Dan's like, no, I want to do it at the public state lake where we can attract a crowd.
No, even more public. I want it like park or something.
No,
so where they just see me just jump out of the water out of nowhere, like rah, grab it.
But no geese are going to get hurt in this. We're not trying to harass waterfowl, and we're not trying to kill anything.
I'll jump out and be like, oh, my precious, my precious.
So those are the Can Dan Do It episodes coming, and those are going to air July. I think right towards the end of July is when I have this. I've got the schedule's on Patreon. I know I posted it on there. I can't remember.
Did we say no panhandling either? We're not going to do the panhandling.
We're postponing the Can Dan panhandle. I mean, we could still do it, but we haven't set up that one, and we're postponing the Can Dan dig a well in his backyard.
It's wouldn't that be great, Drake? Would you want a well in your backyard? Just because, just for. How about this? Can Dan build a well in Drake's backyard? How about that?
I don't know about that one.
Then you could take the water and make it like a koi pond or something.
This just says if you died, she'll need child support.
No.
I'll just adopt Mophie.
Yeah, Mophie. Yeah.
And we'll arrange a marriage between Audrey and
Nevin. Yeah, that'll work. See?
Done.
Easy.
Dan's daughter's going to marry one of my sons.
Nevin.
That's what we have decided arrangement.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, we better let's move on. Any other comments about Can Dan Do It? Are you nervous, worried about getting in that river?
You know, I was a little nervous until you said the people's golden retrievers stay alive. So I'm a retriever. Well, I'm almost as tough as a golden retriever.
You're way tougher than Izzy.
I'm tougher than Izzy.
You're way tougher than Izzy. Not tough. Okay. So the last topic I want to talk about is the stats website coming up. And those of you on the chat board, now's the time to ask any questions, because I think we'll have time for those. So get your questions on the board, and we'll try to answer them. Site update. Yeah. I've got this developer working on it. This guy, I love this guy. He is amazing. And there's this cool app called Slack, and anytime he works on it, I get a notification, and I can go in and see what he's working on and actually see the code he's writing.
Oh, that's
it's
nice.
really interesting. It's really cool. Not that I understand what it means, but it's still interesting.
It's like 1 0 0
I'm
1
like, oh,
0,
come on,
1,
that
0.
semicolon's wrong. You need a period there. It's looking pretty good. He thinks we're pretty much on schedule. I was hoping to have it done by August 1st. Let me just brief what it's going to do real quick. You can log your hunt. When you log your hunt, it's going to be weather, how many times you shot, how many birds you shot, and what kind of birds you shot.
Yeah.
So then the idea is that after your hunts start to kind of stack up, look at all your sortable statistics. So you would be able to see how many ducks have I shot this year, how many blue-winged teal have I shot this year, how many blue-winged teal have I shot on average per hunt, how many ducks have I shot per hunt, and hopefully at some point it'll be fully sortable, hopefully this year, that you could go in and say at the end of the season, how many ducks have I shot with a north wind?
Yeah.
How many ducks have I shot with a north wind degrees? Right. So you can really dig into your all your numbers in a way that you can learn the best on what kind of weather days, which locations are the best. I mean, it's going to be awesome. It's super user friendly. There's only 4 quick pages of login data to put in. You can literally log your hunt in like 3.
But you know what I'm like curious about too is like as many people that are going to be interested in this and doing this. One day, real soon, FDH is going to be the leader of like myth busting, duck hunting. Because we don't really know, like, or like Drake. Have you ever heard like some kind of a myth where it's like you can't get ducks on a clear blue day, or you can get ducks on a clear blue day? Or
that's come about the past 10 years. I'd never heard it. In the last 10 years, everyone will say you shoot more ducks on a bluebird day, right? Actually any data to back that up other than just people's perception.
All right.
And it may or may not be true. I don't know. But you give yourself 5. Once we give ourselves 5 years with this website, I'll know.
Yeah.
I'll know for myself. And I'm really hoping that I can go in on the back end and look at people's data and just like group everyone's together and say, really know what winds do people shoot the most ducks on, what temperatures, what kind of weather conditions.
Yeah.
So, and I'm super excited just to use it because.
Yeah, when you said, oh, you know what, you should really keep track of your shooting. Math, you know. Ugh. But after a while, it was really fun. It was just like, oh, I think I'm at what percent? I'm at what? Oh, I'm getting better. I'm getting worse. It's like it just adds challenge and like excitement to like getting a good shot off, you know. There's a lot to track, but I'm really excited for my percentage because this time I'll actually have framework to put it on, you know. That's just easier because I would forget, you know.
Now, Drake, didn't you try for a while to keep track of your numbers this year?
Yeah, I started off. I don't remember if I did it the first hunt. I think I started the second or third hunt that we did, and that was kind of when we were going through a dry spell, so it was not only frustrating that we weren't shooting things, but then I was also shooting really bad, so my shooting percentage was tanking. I still kind of kept track in my head mentally each hunt. You know, I'd look at how many shells I shot and think about it, but I stopped after just a few times, mainly because it wasn't you can do it in Excel, but it just wasn't quite as user-friendly. As far as, you know, selecting which ducks I shot and things like that. Having to type everything in.
I think that, and before I say this, I want to go back and point out, because here's what a lot of people are going to say. Hunting isn't about the numbers, it's about the experience. And I totally agree with that. Your #1 goal of duck hunting should be the experience. Mm-hmm. For me, and I think you too, being close to God and nature, that's the #1 goal. Mm-hmm. But on the backside of it, we do very much take pride in what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we do very much love to be successful in what we're doing. And some of us are stats people. A lot of duck hunters will go to their favorite baseball team and look at on-base percentage, batting average, every little statistic involved with baseball.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I think that people would be very happy to look at their statistics if you give them a way that's easy to do so. I think most people, like with you and Drake said, you know, it's kind of an overwhelming task to set up a system that allows you to do more than just say, here's what I shot on this day. You know.
But if you have it all set out in front of you, see, I started to think about that. Like, people do pay attention to a lot of stats that they're far more passive in. Like, you watch baseball and you're just sitting there out and buy X amount of money for ammo. You're going to buy all of this stuff, and then you're just going to kind of wing it. Like, well, it's a cloudy day, I guess I'll just go here. Or why not put in throw in some work, throw in some stats. Like, it's going to, I like this idea because it's going to save me money. It's going to save me time. Oh, where should I go? Well, let's look at last season, around this time.
And under these weather conditions.
Or what ammo was shooting the best for this, or what do I really suck at for that? You know, whatever. I mean,
long period with enough time, I think we'll start learning on this type of weather patterns. This spot does well.
Yeah.
Weather conditions, this spot doesn't do too well.
Yeah.
I think that in life and in duck hunting, jump to conclusions with way too little data. The experiences, and then they take that and they generalize it for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Like, one guy pulls a spinner one time and then starts shooting ducks, and for the rest of the time he's claiming, pulling your spinner works, you know, because he had one positive experience.
Or this is the only lure I'm ever going to use, you know, for fishing. Or
I think I was going to get back to a point about something, and I forgot what it was about the numbers. But it took me a long time to build that we do use. It's a really the stats organizer we had been using is super complex. I got to the point with Excel that you could put in numbers one spot and then it would calculate all of but it was a lot of upkeep, and I had to lock my dad out of it because he kept tinkering with stuff messing up formulas. So I locked him out of certain areas. I logged yours for you.
Yeah, yes, you have to log mine for
it. It was if you really knew it, it was user friendly, but it wasn't.
But what the thing that you have is way more user friendly now. The thing that you're developing now is way easier.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm really excited about that, and I hope that can go off. I haven't really seen any questions. Drake, have you noticed any questions come through?
Not really. Someone said Dan should make a PVC and pressure-treated plywood boat and duck hunt out of it.
I would love that. In fact, I was thinking those blue barrels, because maybe it's cheaper. I don't know.
I've seen people make those.
Yeah, I think we saw that once. That was actually when you sunk the boat.
Yeah, that morning.
It was an amazing looking, huge boat. Looked like a houseboat. And he had like 3 blue barrels on one side, 3 blue barrels on the other.
I've seen pictures of people take like a picnic table and put those barrels under it, make it like a little redneck pontoon thing to just like float around.
See, I would get more enjoyment out of that than buying a brand new boat. Because my big piece of crap boat is mine. Like, I made it.
You would die in it, though. You remember that story about the guy making this little out around Fort Riley a few years ago? A guy didn't have a boat. Retrieved ducks off of an ice shelf. So he made some kind of styrofoam,
that would
PVC
be me.
pipe
That would totally be me.
Contraption to retrieve his ducks, and he died.
And it probably looked really good, too.
Oh, I'm sure it did when they came there and found him dead. I'm sure they were commenting on his handiwork.
I saw some guy that's here out of Kansas, and he makes some hunting videos, and he like repairs decoys and stuff and shows how to do different rigs and things. And he had some like inner tube thing that he used, so he'd like walk out, he'd like put it around him, and it had like a harness on it and stuff, and then he'd walk across the ice, and if he broke through, then the inner tube would catch him before the water got up to his waders. And
do not encourage.
That is a good idea.
Do not.
He used it for saving one of his dogs one time. I guess it had ran out to get ducks, and it was breaking through the ice, so he went out to get it and was walking across it, and you could see him. He'd get out there a little ways and he'd break through, and then he'd climb back up on the ice, walk a little bit, break through, and I don't know. He seems to think it's one of the best things ever. I haven't. To me, it'd be too much to actually take it out there with me, I think.
You know what I've been meaning to try since it's summer? It's probably not going to happen this season, but I really want to get into bow fishing for carp. Does anybody do that here? Has anybody ever done that?
Golden Boy just drilled 3 carp just the other day
with
1 shot. You didn't see this picture?
No way.
Yeah, he's like, first he killed 3 carp right out by where I shot that thing, right across the street from his house.
Golden Boy can do anything.
I know.
Where is his flaws? I cannot find any chink in his.
No, it's just gonna have to start being really mean to him.
If we are, he'll just be like, "Oh, I'll pray for you."
He is amazing. No, it's not annoying if he's watching Golden. I love you. It's not annoying.
You're the best.
He is.
You're the best.
In fact, he and I are hitting the Mo Thursday for a little scout trip.
Yeah.
He's coming with us on that deal.
There he is, right there.
There he is.
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, bow fishing."
Yeah.
So, Aiden, when you get a chance, send Dan that picture of you with those carp. He shot 2 with one arrow.
Did you buy that arrow contraption thing, or did you just make it yourself, or was it just a naked arrow? Just because you can go to Cabela's and you get this little reel arrows.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to answer a couple questions real quick, and then I've got a story about that type of attachment. Someone was asking about jump shooting versus blind shooting. Is jump shooting versus blind hunting, what's better? I want to get into blind hunting, but it's expensive. More expensive about blind hunting than jump hunting.
What's jump?
Well, to me, here's what jump hunting is. You see a pond, it's got ducks on it.
Oh yeah.
Run up the dam, they flush, and you shoot them. And if I'm like out pheasant hunting and I see some ducks on a pond, jump shooting is really fun. That's about the only time. There is no comparison to ducks coming up off the water when you scare them versus decoying ducks in the same.
It's
not
like
even the same sport.
A melee.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
it's fun though, but it's not even the same sport.
Like a trespassing fine could be expensive.
Yeah, I think what he was talking about with the expensive blind hunting was probably accounting decoys. And then probably thinking about like blinds or like mojos, things like that. I assume that's what he means as far as it being more expensive. But
you know what we should do? We should.
Hold on, Drake. You're fairly new to the sport. Give him like the poor man's what he needs to buy to go out and start doing it.
Well, I'd just go out and buy a dozen like hot buy green headgear mallards or something, or they came out with some new ones, some new kind of like hot buy thing. I just saw it on Rogers a while back, and I think it's around like $50 or $60, and it's a dozen decoys. They have different head poses and stuff, and get you some weights for it. And if you already have a shotgun to jump shoot with, I mean, that's all you really need to get started. I mean, I guess if you're jump shooting, you're probably going to need waders anyway. If you're shooting them over the pond, you got to go out there. So if you already have the waders, then you got that covered. And then
how much dozen decoys? Waders?
How much is a dozen decoys? How much?
You can get a dozen decoys for $25 if you keep watching.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean, if you buy the cheap ones, yeah, you can probably get like flambeaus for like $20-$30, something like that.
Yeah. Carolina Ty says, do you have a favorite call? I really like Piney Point Outdoors, which I'm going to have him. He's a young guy. I think he's about 19, 20. Makes his own calls.
Oh, yeah.
He's actually going to be on a live stream.
Yeah.
And we're going to be selling his calls on the website.
Yep. And they look real.
And I don't just say it. I had 3 different guys send me free calls.
Really talented.
I liked his the best. Like his is the one that I actually used in blind.
And it's hard decisions too. I mean, like these guys who make these calls are just artists and craftsmen. They're really good.
There's a lot of young kids getting into that.
Yeah. I wonder why that is.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool deal. So my story about, and Aiden said he made his own.
He made his own retriever? How did you do that?
He's the golden bull.
No, he made his own like sled carrier too. Golden Stash.
You just started calling him Golden Stash.
All that Golden Stash.
Didn't you just start calling him Stash?
Stash.
Oh, that Stash. That Golden Stash.
That was the day I got stung by 3 bees.
Hey, there's one of my students. This kid, he's a really cool kid. King of YouTube, he's one of my students. And you remember the old show, Welcome Back, Kotter?
Yeah.
Welcome
hey, Mr.
back.
Kotter. Hey, Mr.
All the
Kotter.
time, I had to know him so bad. I would just get on and play that music, and I called it his theme song. So he'd just be in the middle of work, and all of a sudden over the speakers, like, welcome back. I'd just look at him like this. He's a cool kid, though. He's a cool kid. So my bow story. So I was 18, and I wanted to get into bow fishing. So I went and got an attachment. There's 2 different attachments you can get. There's a spool that can sit on the front of the bow, and you wind the cord around it,
Right.
and then when you shoot it, it comes out and spools off, right? And that was like $15. For like $30, you could get more of like a fishing pole looking attachment. It was a lot more advanced.
Okay.
So I decided I'm just going to get the cheap little $15 one. So I go in my backyard, I spool that thing all up, right? Get ready for my first practice shot. Spool the cord right. So when I shot it, it got halfway and hit the end, turned around, came right over my head. The thing. So I'm like, okay, well, this thing was just faulty. So of course, what am I gonna do? Let's try it again. I mean, literally, I was this close to dying. I'm gonna try it again, right? So I went back to the store. I said, I tried it once. This thing broke.
Yeah. I
need a new one. So they give me a new one. I come in the backyard. I spool that thing all up again, get it all ready. Same thing. Goes out, turns around. Luckily, it hit the bone. It jams right into my shin. But it hit the shin bone. Oh! Pop it out. But I mean, if that had like gut shot me or something.
So were you doing it wrong, or is it just they just suck?
I was being careful. Didn't break it. So Fumbles, then he went and tried it real carefully, and he got it to work right. And he's like, okay, we're gonna. It's a practice tip, but still, I could have killed myself.
Who's the question?
Waterfowl and fly fish. How can I improve my waterfowl videos? Well, first of all, I'll say if you come over and join us at Patreon, I'd be happy to help you with that one-on-one, and we can actually work on it together. But I would say using a GoPro, then do that. I would say don't just slap a GoPro on your head and run heavy metal music to 1,000 of blurry kill shots.
and don't spell your number of shot or do your number of shot with the dead carcasses of your.
Yeah.
You ever see that, like 7?
Yeah. And Drake, tell him about because Drake uses a setting on his GoPro that's not like fisheye. Tell him about what you do with the setting.
I think I've actually talked to him before.
Okay.
And I think he commented on my GoPro video, and he's commented on a lot of my videos. But yeah, I just use the medium setting. There's different field of view settings on the GoPro. They have like a narrow, a medium, wide, and then extra wide, and then like even wider than that. And, so I just run it on the medium setting, and it kind of gives that happy medium of having a wide enough field of view to see the entire spread, but then it's also not so wide that it gives the impression that ducks are really far out there. Because if you start stretching the angle of it and stuff, if something's way out on the edge, it makes it look really far away.
Video on his whole camera setup. If you're only using GoPros, I would say absolutely watch Drake's videos, see what he's doing, because I am not joking. Your videos are the best GoPro videos.
Oh yeah,
they look the clearest. I mean, they're you know how to do it with a GoPro.
My favorite one of yours, Jake, is the ice one. That was my favorite.
That was my favorite hunt of the year. Even though we had hunts where we shot more than that. I still shot my limit that day, and I think Kyle was 1 or 2 away from his limit. But it was just one of the most fun experiences because I had never shot ducks over ice like that before. And our other buddy, they always said, well, it's iced over. We don't really go out there. We don't really see a whole lot. But we went out, broke open a hole in the ice. There were ducks there, and it was a small hole, and we had huge wads of ducks trying to come into that. And it was a crazy experience.
and it had a really good vibe to it. I just really like it's just it's a feel good kind of a video. I like it.
Yeah. And I'll also say that have one, and then try to get a handheld camera too. Keep it in your vest, and when people start talking and it's interesting, just start filming. That changed everything because if you keep the camera in your bag, things are said. Right. If you have it, I hang mine on my neck under a vest, and so I've got a small enough one that works. So when I think conversation is going to be funny, or if I can tell it's going to be funny, sometimes I'll be like, hold on to that conversation. Even
you're like, hey, wait, don't say that.
No, don't start. Let me be good, because I can tell they're going to be talking about. Yeah. I mean, they're not trying to talk for the camera.
Yeah.
I can just tell their conversation is going to be interesting. But don't just try to get ducks being killed, and don't do it with a GoPro on your head. Yeah. That would be the best advice.
Because people, like, everyone's different, and everybody brings their unique way that they look at life and look at nature in a different way, and it's just fun to see it through everyone's different perspectives. I like the way what's the where it's like I don't know, it's just like instead of just shots, it's just, there's a word for it, but I like that type. Drake, what was it called? Oh, never mind. Hey, Drake, I wanted to ask you a question about do you know anything about audio mics?
Microphones?
Picking sound and like people's dialogue.
He wants to mic everyone up, and I'm telling him that it's going to be too expensive and the equipment's not going to be waterproof.
I don't know a whole lot about it. I know that you'd probably have to have some kind of like wireless receiver that can accept inputs from all the different mics. And yeah, I think Elliott, I think it'd be pretty expensive to do something like that. It would definitely be nice.
Because, you know, like on most hunts I've ever been on with anybody, somebody says the funniest thing or the most deepest, profound thing, and it's just in passing, and you lose that, like, in some respects. And if I had a bunch of money, I'd love to buy something.
Yeah, you'd honestly probably be cheaper buying a GoPro for everybody and just strapping it on all of them.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Or just have them all over the place. But I keep telling him too, it's like the guy who's editing the video, that the more, every time you add a camera, you add more work. So we're going to go with 2 cameras this year. We're going to have a mounted GoPro, which I did find a solution to what we were talking about with the and then we're going to go with the handheld. But at hardware, they've got these poles that essentially just look like walking sticks that pull out to about 8 foot tall.
Oh, wow.
And they're not totally spiked at the end, but enough that you can jam them into the ground.
Oh.
And they just got to figure out, I'll just have my dad use it as a walking stick. And they're nice metal poles. And then I just have to figure out how to mount the action camera to the top of it.
Maybe and lock each.
There's all sorts of different types of these. I don't know what they are, what they're even for. I don't know. The different ones, different heights, different lengths.
If you have a link or something for that, send it to me, because I'd be curious to see what that is. Because I'm trying to figure out a solution for just having like a pole to stick in the ground. I saw a push pole that I'm not sure if it would really work for that. I think it extends to like 12 foot, but it's kind of big in diameter. So I'm not really sure if it would be what I really wanted. But if I could also get the push pull attachment for the end of it and use it as a push pull in our boat too, then it might be worth it. But I would want to find some way to put some kind of attachment on the bottom so that it could jam into the ground, because the end's just open if it doesn't have anything on it.
Yeah, well, at the very least, I'll text you a picture of it when I go and buy it, because I don't know if I can find it online, but just this hardware store right down the street has them. I've seen them. I just didn't buy one.
Hey, and then we need to find like a Kevlar jacket to put over the. Who's going to shoot the camera? Do some low pass.
Probably fumble. She's always shooting. Someone wanted to know, was it Matt? If we ever watched videos. I watched one actually yesterday. Someone, maybe it was you, Matt. I don't know. Someone commented on the video yesterday and watched one of his videos, and they were hunting a pretty cool spot. And then there's these guys I think called the Clark brothers or something. They're in New Zealand. And they have a lot of hunting videos, so I've seen those, Matt.
Yeah, I've watched the Clark boys. It's definitely a different style of hunting over there. Whenever you watch them, their season is after ours, but because they're in a different part of the world, it works. But to me, it looks like it's hot. I don't know if you Elliott, if you thought the same thing, but I don't. I've commented on a few
but the
videos.
ones I watch always end up being opening day.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people do opening day videos. But yeah, it just looked like it was hot. I mean, I think their season is in April, May, June, maybe. I think it might even go through July in certain spots. But I don't know what their climate is like in New Zealand at that time. But they shoot so many different kinds of ducks than what we have, and their limits seem like they're really, really generous. Like I saw a video that the Clark boys had out, and I think they shot like 100 ducks one day or something like that. And there was like, I think 5 or 6 of them, but it was still like whatever that is, like 20 ducks a person or something like that. And it's just crazy.
I don't think I would shoot that many even if I could.
Nah, I wouldn't want to clean that many. It's kind of like the snow goose thing. I would like to go on a big snow goose hunt sometime during the conservation season, but I feel like I'd want to go with a guide that like provided the cleaning service and everything like that, because I do not think I want to clean that many birds.
Yeah, seriously. Unless it was like, they had a big poor population and they gave all of the meat
to like homeless children or something.
That might make a difference.
Yeah.
It would make a difference.
Yeah.
So, Drake, how do you like your G7 camera or waterfowl and fly fish? They're asking.
I really like it. It's really good for doing the videos in here in my house. Just that closer stuff. I'm not sure how it's going to work out for actually using it with the hunting. I'm a little bit worried about that just because it doesn't have that digital zoom like what your Handycam has, where you can zoom in really far. It does have zoom on it, but it's not a very close zoom. I mean, if I put it like 10 feet behind me and zoom it in all the way, it's pretty close around my head, but that's as close as it's going to get. So I've tried to take some pictures and video of ducks out at local ponds and things like that. I tried to get some pictures of teal and some videos of them, and I felt like I was fairly close to them. I mean, close enough that I think I would shoot at them. But it just seemed like it wasn't quite as close as I wanted the camera to be able to get to them. So I think it'll do better than a GoPro, certainly. Like sitting in the blind, I'm going to try and make like a paracord lanyard or something that I can throw over like a sling on me. So I wouldn't be able to put it in my pocket because it's a little bit too big for that, but I could probably hold it and then kind of throw it down at my side as I bring my gun up, as long as we're not standing in water or anything like that. So I think it's going to do better than the GoPro, but I still think I might like to get a different lens so that I can get in closer on some ducks. But then again, the problem with that would be if I want to turn to somebody and film them while they're talking, then that further zoom lens, you can only zoom it out so far. So it might be kind of difficult there. So Handycam probably would have been the way to go, but I was kind of stubborn, and I know DSLR cameras, so I wanted to go for one of those. And I like the camera.
It's gonna be challenges with anything. It's just a matter of overcoming them and figuring out how to make.
I don't want to like cast any dispersions on your camera or anything, but I just don't see us being able to not destroy that.
Yeah.
What other seasons?
I broke my camera last year. It broke at the end of the snow goose hunt, and I got it back into the factory on the last day of the warranty. It just stopped working.
Yeah, that was a blessing.
Yeah, DSL, is that what they're called?
DSLR.
DSLR, we would destroy it.
Really?
Yeah, we would break it. I got to find Drake's really careful in doing this stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Not so much Dan and I.
No. I think
some of my stuff, yes.
The stuff you care about, right?
I got crap a lot last season because the guys thought I was like treating my shotgun bad and stuff because I didn't clean it once all year. I wiped down the outside and stuff, but I didn't clean the inside, and I just wanted to see how dirty I could get it and still have it shooting. And I don't, it's a waterfowl gun. I'll lay it down on the dirt. I don't care. And they're like, man, treating that $1,500 gun like it's like a Nerf gun or something like that. I'm like, it's a waterfowl gun. If it can't live sitting on the dirt, then it needs to go back to the store and I need to find a different gun.
Yeah.
But
any waterfowl is going to be treated like a waterfowl gun.
yeah. Now, camera, I'm probably going to be a little bit nervous with this whenever I first take it out of water and things because it's not super waterproof. But it'll probably get dinged up still this year, just especially if I have it on a sling and I throw it down to my side.
You kind of cutting out. We got a question here that Speckbook Trout Fisher wants to know about our dogs papered, and Izzy definitely purebred. She's on a lower end purebred, so I got her for $300. But she does have all her paperwork, and old Fumble's dogs are always $1,000 dogs. He goes for more of the high end retrievers. But that being said, because this guy's saying he has a dog that has no paperwork. My first retrieving dog I got for $15 out of the newspaper. It was half lab, half golden retriever. And that dog could hunt. She was fast, she was athletic, and she had super crazy desire to retrieve. And I'm willing to bet you that most labs that you just go out and buy, you could probably hunt. But you're going to run into some that don't hunt. I mean, you don't want to put all that investment into a dog that doesn't want to hunt. But if your dog's already showing signs of bringing things back, go out and get a book like Water Dog immediately, especially if you're talking about 11-month lab, because you're gonna get bad habits into that dog that's gonna be hard to break. So go get yourself a book like Water Dog, read it, and train that dog. If that dog wants to retrieve, you can train it to hunt.
I think GT Outdoors is using Water Dog. I think that's the book he's using. And I don't know if you've seen any of his Instagram stuff, but it seems like his dog's coming quite a long ways and doing really, really well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. His videos, his dog looks like it's coming real well. It only takes about 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day is 0 to a 1-year-old. And you can skip a few days here and there, but it doesn't take that much.
And it makes for good dry hunting after that, huh? Just
that's the goal. Number one goal, steady your dog. That's the number one most important thing. Don't let your dog run. And my first dog was not steady. She was insane. Oh my goodness. She was so not fun to hunt with, but she was a good hunter.
I don't know what my favorite retrieve is. It's Fumbles, it's Candy walking on ice, running over the ice.
Yeah.
Was it your dog in the middle of the wind? No, what was it? It was this huge retrieve. I think it was
that
Teal.
was
like
bottoms
3 miles
with
away.
all the waves and everything.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah.
Dog made a retrieve that was like, I don't know, it was like 50 yards away. And we're like, yeah, no way. Yeah. How is she going to find that? And she came back.
It's fun. It's having a dog really, it wouldn't be the same to me to hunt without a dog.
Are we going to put a camera on the dog?
I don't know. I've played around with it. I don't know. I don't think it adds that much value. I mean, I've seen videos with dogs and camera mounts, and it's kind of like a novelty. It's kind of interesting,
yeah.
But you really can't really see anything, and it's all wobbling around.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're usually the GoPros, like I've talked about before. They're action cameras, but to me, it seems like when they move around a lot, it really distorts the quality, and it doesn't seem like anybody can get those dog mounts to where they're steady enough. You know, they kind of the vest and stuff moves around on them, and it just it'd be cool if you could get it to where it was just stuck right on them and went with them real well, but they don't. They kind of flop around, and like you said, it just doesn't.
And the video you get, it's really not worth the effort, I don't think.
Yeah.
I actually have a video on YouTube that's hidden where I took Izzy to a creek down here and messed around with it, and I was like, you know what, that's just a pain. Well, we've been going about an hour and 10 minutes, so I think we should probably shut it down here. And I appreciate everyone stopping by. Held between 20 and 35 people the whole time, so off season, I think those are pretty good numbers. Really appreciate it. If any of you have any questions, feel free to message or email me at freelanceduckhunting@gmail.com. Oh, well, we we are going to have camo hats real soon. Within a couple weeks, we're going to have camo hats, Max 1 camo hats with FDH on them. So
Finally getting camo hats.
Finally getting camo hats. So we'll have those within a couple weeks. And so if you guys are wanting the camo hats, be ready for those too. Thank you for reminding me of that. Anything else you want to say, Drake?
Nope, I think that's all.
All right.
Thanks for having me again.
Tune in next week, guys.